So the whole idea for this illustration came from a C.S. Lewis quote that I read on Instagram. It says, "Since it is so likely that children will meet cruel enemies, let them at least have heard of brave knights and heroic courage. Otherwise, you are making their destiny not brighter, but darker." And that got me thinking not only about the stories we tell our kids, but the stories we tell ourselves and the stories we tell to ourselves. If you've seen any of my stuff, you know that I'm a big believer in creativity and all things imagination. And I think that's why this quote stuck with me, because it's a challenge to the stories we tell. It's a challenge to the stories that we keep and the stories that we let marinate in our hearts, to the stories that we let shape our days. It seems so easy to tell another tale of cruel enemies, or to tell a tale of broken hearts or missed chances or bad choices or falling short or getting knocked down again and again. Because those are the tales that we often tell ourselves, and the tales that we believe is simply, well, reality. But the thing is, there's so many of those stories already. They litter the airwaves, they pollute the papers and the news feeds, and eventually, they pollute our souls as well. It's the tales of the enemies that keep us afraid. It's the tales of the bullies and the crooks and the creepers lurking in the shadows that cause us to step heavy as we go through our days. It's those stories that sprout roots and grab hold in our minds, and then they stay for much longer than we would choose to let them. We tell ourselves tales of not measuring up, of not being someone else, of not this or not that, or not me or not them. We tell of all the reasons why not, and then those tales, like a slow rolling cloud, begin to block out the light. They begin to obscure the heroes and distort the beauty. How many times have we embraced the story of heroic courage and let those tales take root in our soul and let it change the way we see the world? How many tales of art, beauty, and imagination have parted those clouds? Not enough. I think the kicker is the end of the quote when he says, not telling tales of heroic courage is actually making destiny darker, not brighter. The more tales we tell ourselves of defeat and anger and unfairness, of darkness and cruelty, the more that becomes what we see. The more we become shaped by it, driven by it, manipulated by it. It affects how we navigate our days, what we think of creativity and art, and ultimately what we believe about ourselves. But those dark clouds can part. So Mr. Rogers has famously been quoted as saying, "Look for the helpers," when he was talking about tragedy, because looking for the helpers changes your perspective. And the same rings true in this quote. The darkness parts when we tell the tales of the heroes, when we believe in beauty and spectacular creativity. Tell of the knights, tell of the heroes, tell of the artists, tell of the beauty. Better yet, be the knight. Be the hero full of courage. Be the artist spilling out with creativity. Be the definition of a wild imagination. It's a simple remedy. In a world of dragons, be the knight. In a world of drab, be the color. In a world of darkness, be the light. So it's time for a plot twist. Give your story a new chapter today. Maybe your dragon isn't that bad after all. Maybe he just collects the feathers from the helmets of the knights for a giant dragon-sized knitting project. Maybe today in your story, you become the knight full of courage. You become the artist full of creativity. You become the beautiful imagination that paints the world with colors that they have never seen before. Maybe today you start telling yourself a new story where you're the hero, and you let that story grow roots and take hold and shine through you. Today is a perfect day to become the hero in your story. Now, go be the knight.